Hey y'all, welcome back to the Spark Faith podcast. I am Dr. Chris Sargent, and I have a fascinating person. If you are in need of decluttering, if you are in need of organization, if you don't know how to get rid of your stuff, if you hold on to things, emotional or physical, you are in the right place today. I have Melina Kane. She is an extraordinary organizer, and we had a fantastic and super fun conversation the other day. Welcome, Melina, to our podcast. And I know that you are all things organization, minimalism, and getting all the things in your life decluttered. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Chris. I'm so happy to be here and have some time with you today.
Thanks. I know we had a great like a pre-interview conversation. We had so much fun. So I know that today is going to be fun, and y'all are going to learn a ton of stuff because I learned a ton of stuff just in our pre-interview, and I don't always tend to be the most organized. So she can really like put things in easy to handle bites so that it doesn't feel overwhelming, because I think that that's where a lot of us get sidetracked. Is it just feels like such a big job. So Melina, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got on this path, and we're going to go down a couple of really fun roads today. We're going to talk about organization and decluttering and scarcity and food prep, because that's a big thing for all of us. And I'll shut up.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm so excited to be here with you. So yes, my name is Melina Kane. I was born and raised in Austin, Texas. I'm still here with my husband. It'll be 13 years in October, and our two boys, Jack and Melina Kane, are 9 and 6. And we adopted a pup last summer. I finally wore my husband down. So we finally got a dog. And so I mean, just a little bit about me. I was a full-time working mom, transitioned to a stay-at-home mom. And that's kind of where all of this started, was like learning about minimalism and what that meant. And it's different than probably what a lot of people think of, like that austere, perfect looking house and things like that. That's not what I took from it. So learned about minimalism, and it really, it righted my motherhood. It turned it upside down in the best kind of way, of making it where I really think more about what's important in my day. What do I center my day around, like with my values and things like that. So now it's like I'm on a mission to help other women and moms do the same thing in their home.
I just so love that. And I love that you focus on value system first, right?
Yes.
That if this is part of our conversation, like if it's important for you to sit down and have dinner on the table, then maybe what's on the table, as long as it's healthy, maybe it doesn't have to be fancy, right? And like I love what you said too about minimalism not necessarily having to be austere, because that is certainly the first place I go. So tell us a little about minimalism and decluttering and how that came to be so important and as a part of your value system.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think what a lot of people think of sometimes when they think of minimalism, they think of like, okay, you get to own 20 things, right? And it's white walls and everything is perfect. And it feels like a museum where you live. And that is not how not how I teach people how to live, or how I even like live. I mean, your home is supposed to be lived in, right? I have 2 children and a dog. There is no way that I could live in a white house and everything look perfect all the time. That would be exhausting, absolutely exhausting. And that's just not part of like what's important to me. What's important to me is making a home feel like a home. Like it's supposed to be a place of rest. It's supposed to be your sanctuary. It's where you have that connection time with your family, with your friends when they're here. So that's really, to me, what minimalism is. So it can be colors on the walls. You can own more than 10 things, but it's just really like you have permission to own 10 things. You also have permission for it to be messy. Like it can be messy. Like it's not supposed to be tidy and perfect 24 hours a day. Again, that's an impossibility. And that's a standard that I feel like a lot of women see on the internet and they somehow think the rest of us are living like that too. And like, well, I can't have dirty dishes in this sink because, Sally down the street for sure doesn't do that. That's not true. Like we're all
Not
doing,
true.
no, we're just all doing the best that we can with what we have each day. And it really goes back to like what's important to you. Like we talked about like what's important to you around the dinner table. Is it having dinner around the table? Does it really matter necessarily if you have all the food groups on your plate? Maybe, maybe not. But really what's more important, at least to me and our family, is that connection time. So it's the same thing that translates to the rest of your home. It's like those values. And that's really what I tell people to start with is like, what are your values? Like, what do you want to be rooted in? And that will be your anchor to how you make your decisions and choices and habits in the rest of your home and in your life.
Give in. We don't always sit down to think about what our values are. Give us some coaching around how we can kind of figure out what's important to us so that when we go to make decisions, for me,
Mhm.
like my values are God, family, um, God and family in that order always, and then everything else. But health is way up there, right? Health is in my top five. And so when I go to make decisions, is this about God? Is it about family? Is it about my health or my
Mhm.
family's health? Those are how all of that stuff kind of sifts through. And then is it going to be fun, right? Like fun is one of my values. So um I think it's important to understand what your values are.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I mean, I think if someone isn't sure, I think one litmus test would be just to see like what do you put your energy into? Just to kind of be aware of like what are you putting your energy into? And it also might be an awareness piece of like maybe I'm putting my energy into something that doesn't really matter that much to me, right? It could be like the shoulds that are in your life. Like I should be volunteering and doing this stuff, or I should be baking these things from scratch, or I should have an organized, tidy home. Like, so I think if you just take a minute and think about what really brings me joy and happiness, like what lights me up, what does not feel heavy or a burden or where I feel stressed out, that if I had a whole day to myself, that's what I want. That's what I want to do. Like, that's what I want to spend my time on, right? That'll be a good kind of like compass to be like, okay, that's going to start giving me some information as far as like, what do I value? Like for me, I value connections and relationships. Like that is one of my core values, right? Connection with God, connection with my family, connection with my friends, connection with my community. It all just kind of goes from there. And so I know that about myself. And so I prioritize those connections with those people, with God, with everyone in my life. And I make time for those things. But on the flip side of that, you also have to know like, okay, but there's only, so much of me and so much of my energy too, right? So there's the boundaries with the values, right? Those come into play. That's a little bit of the coaching piece of me with it. Because everything can be good until you stretch yourself a little too thin. So, I mean, another value, like you said, your value was fun. It's like what brings, the fun to your day. And it could be a lot of different things for you, right? Fun to me is going like on a walk at sunset. Like that's fun to me because that's again, it's like connection still underlying there, connection with nature, connection with myself, connection with God. Like that's so it's different. So yeah, that's what I'd kind of say, tell people is like, okay, if you're not sure where your values are, and also have a conversation with your spouse if you have a partner or with your children, like that would be a lovely conversation to have around the dinner table is like, hey guys, let's write out like what are the things that we love to do, and let's figure out what are parts and pieces of that we all have in common, and then maybe that is what is important to us as a family and what we want to really spend our time in and do. I actually have an exercise where it's like it's creating like a vision, like a mission for your family. And it's kind of walking you through some of those questions, right? Because I think it's very easy to just kind of walk through life without really knowing what's valuable to you, what's important to you. And you kind of listen to the rest of the noise around you that tells you what you should be putting your time and energy into.
Definitely. I think comparison is that, right? Like that's the shoulda, coulda, oh, she's doing, oh, I bet she's doing, but we're just guessing. And that spinning and overthinking can really create a whole nest of things that we're doing that we don't even value. We're just doing them because we think we have to do them.
Right.
I think you are so spot on with that. And I find that, I mean, through health, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love to cook because I like to cook healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I love to go take a run because it makes me healthy, but I also am connecting with God and I'm out in nature and my dog loves it and all of those pieces that go along with it, just like you and connection.
Yes, yes. And that's the thing, like the cool thing is a lot of them overlap,
They do overlap.
right?
100%.
So if you're kind of anchored in what is important to you, hopefully throughout your day, your week, your month, you are doing things that it's like where they're just all overlapping, right? Because they're all connected in some way because they're connected to you, right?
Right. And so decluttering pieces and parts of our life allow us to see those values more clearly and be able to play out those values more clearly, right? Like I just told you, I love to cook. But if my kitchen was a completely cluttery mess, it wouldn't be as fun, right? My spices are savory on one side and sweet on the other. And I have my big jars in the center of the things that I use the most. And like I have my organizational
Mm-hmm.
things in my cabinets so that in my fridge so that it's easy for me to cook because I
Mm-hmm.
love to cook and I can just get in there and stay there all day and batch cook out my protein for the week and that kind of thing. But talk to us a little bit about decluttering and how that can actually bring the dopamine hits, because this is important. We talked a little bit about this before, because I think that honestly, that's what we're looking for, right? During our day, we're looking for those moments of joy where the dopamine hits and we're like, oh, this is so good. I
Mm-hmm.
love this. Instead of the walking into your bedroom and going, oh, the closet that's on my chair, I can't take it.
Totally, totally. Well, I think as women in general, we're low on a lot of those feel good hormones, just because we are the spinner of all the plates and the juggler of all the things, right? Whether you have a family or you're an empty nester, like you're still doing a lot of things in your day, and taking care of a lot of things. And so what's interesting is when we talk about decluttering, one of the things that becomes very apparent is what decluttering and organizing does for you is it gives you back your time. So when you release the things, because honestly, everything in your home, it takes part of your energy because it's either something that you have to manage, like tidying up, cleaning it, shuffling it to one side of your desk or another, or one counter to another, or stepping over it, something like, right? It takes some energy and time to do it, or it's the mental energy of you pass by it and you're like, well, there's those clothes on the chair again. I really need to do those, or there's the laundry basket. I need to do that, or there's a pile of bills that I need to pay. So it's like it's continuous energy that gets zapped from you, whether you're aware of it or not. It's happening.
It's that it's that feeling of I'm just tolerating it.
Yes. Yes.
Right. I had a coach who used to call them tolerations, literally. Like,
Mm.
what are you tolerating in your life? If you do not like the color of your bathroom, paint it. Like it's a weekend project. But if every time you walk into a certain room, you see the chair that has a full of clothes, or you know that you need to redo the countertop someplace, right? Or you need to clear off something like, and it just makes you twitch, that's the energy that you're just giving away.
Totally. Totally. I love that toleration.
Toleration. It just makes you irritable. Like we used to have this bathroom that it was a small half bath, but the sink and the toilet were black.
Mm. Oh my gosh.
Dark to
I could,
start with.
I
I
could.
know. I know.
I'd be wanting to scrub that thing like all the time. Like, is it clean? I'm not sure. I can't tell. Like, it's a good, it's a bad thing. You know?
Seriously. So I painted the room like this beautiful burnt orange to brighten it up. And my then husband thought it would be really cool to put like it was this was a long time ago, like when faux finishing was in.
Oh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
And he's like, oh, let's faux finish that, and chose a black. And every time I
A
walk into
black.
that black and had it done, and he's like, oh, surprise. I'm like, oh,
Um,
yay. I hated it. I hated that bathroom. I hated that bathroom. Every time I'd walk in, it would be like,
yeah.
and it was the main half bath on the main floor,
Oh,
right?
no.
What are
So
you
you're
gonna
always
do?
seeing.
They're always in there. It was hilarious, but anyhow, I digress.
You tolerated the bathroom.
I tolerated that
Yeah.
bathroom
Yeah.
until I
Yeah.
couldn't anymore.
Yeah. No, but I think that's a really good point. I feel like a lot of us just tolerate the things around in our home. And understandably, there's a season for everything, right?
100%.
There's some seasons like, I mean, it's just good that pile is just gonna be there. Like you just do not have the bandwidth.
Mm-mm.
You know, especially if you have little kids. I mean,
Oh,
go please take the power nap, then go and fold the laundry. Like the laundry's
100%.
gonna be there. Just go take the nap or go take a shower, you know,
Yeah,
do something for you.
the
But
laundry will be fine.
yeah, the laundry's gonna be fine. The dishes are gonna be fine, right? Somebody will figure out how to get those back to like a
It'll get
clean
done.
state.
And you will feel better if you take the nap and then.
Correct. 100%. Oh my gosh, all the time. I know.
I know. You gotta take
Taking
a
a
nap.
nap is still doing something. It's still, you're still
Thank
making a
you.
choice.
Right? Ladies, we are going to give you, and men, whoever's listening, we are giving you permission to take the nap.
Yes, please
It
take
is
a nap.
still, it is part of, in functional medicine, it is part of rest. It is
Mm,
part of revival for your adrenals and your brain. It is good for your muscles and joints and tendons to just let all of that stress go. It is good for so many things. So, yes, take the nap. Y'all know I'm a big napper, so it's not surprising that I'm going to say
I take it up.
that.
I've literally taken 3 naps this past week and I haven't napped in so long, but my brain has just felt like it's been on dial up. And I'm like, I just need to nap right now. I'm going to be so much more productive if I just take the nap.
Seriously, that 20 minutes can create, can like prevent an hour of spinning out.
Oh my gosh, 100%.
Right? This is
100%.
what happens like when we get to this place where everything's cluttered and you don't know where to go next, or
Yeah.
your little kids are little and you've got them, they're running around and they're making messes everywhere, and you're gonna like, ah, that's the moment. Give them the iPad, turn on a video, and lay down on
Yes.
the couch, close
Yes.
your eyes, find your Calm app,
Calm
throw
down.
your AirPods in,
Yes.
and breathe. Even 10 minutes, even 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. 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 100%.
Five deep breaths with your hand like on your heart and on your belly turns around your vagus nerve to start that rest and digest process. It turns off that sympathetic fight, flight, and turns on the rest and repair. 5 deep breaths.
Yep. It's amazing. It's
It's
amazing.
amazing.
Y'all, please go do that today. I wanted,
But
like, I
not
wanted to
right
go
now
right
in the middle of the
now.
podcast. Just y'all go take a nap and then come back.
And then come back. But no, it's
Yeah,
so
let's not
true.
take a nap if you're listening in the car. Not a good
No,
idea.
don't do that. Don't do that. Go to a safe place. Go to a safe place. But yeah, so absolutely, absolutely. Take a nap. Please do things for yourself. Okay, so we talked about minimalism, how that's important, that creates space for you. And then I got completely off topic with the nap. So now I'm just thinking about naps.
No, we're good. We were talking about decluttering, and that it gives you energy and it gives you your time back. And then we talked a little bit about tolerating things in our life that just suck our
Yeah.
energy out. And then we can take a nap. And now we have energy again to declutter. So where do I start?
So where do you start now that you got your power nap?
Energy, and the kids are
Yes.
watching video again.
Yeah.
No, they're in preschool. They're outside playing.
Yes, they're doing something. They're doing something. And yes, and again, there's seasons for that, right? There's
Right,
seasons
right, right.
for all of it.
Yeah, my
You're
kids are 19 and 21. I should have plenty of time to declutter.
yes. Well, don't should all over yourself.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so where do you start?
Make it my
So
favorite thing to do, Melina. Tell me how to make decluttering my favorite thing.
okay, let's do that. Let's start from there.
Let's go there.
Okay. Then I would ask you the question is, make it fun then. I know you love fun and I love fun. Like if I'm going to do something, if I'm going to sit and do whether it's 15 minutes or an hour of decluttering, I'm going to make it fun. So I'm going to put music on. I'm going to get some fun music or a podcast like this one and listen to something as I'm doing it because I just need to like lift myself up a little bit. And again, it's like you just it's like setting the mood is really what it is. Like you're kind of setting the mood for it. Okay. So there's two ways you can go about this. You either can start with your biggest pain point, or you can start with like go small. So it's one of the two. It depends on how much time you have. If you have little ones, toddlers, and they have the attention span of 5 minutes, start small unless it's nap time, right? Let's set yourself up for success because I don't want you to literally take everything out of your closet and you're on a pile and then you just like they pop up out of nowhere, these children, and you're like, I have nothing, and now there's this huge pile of mess, and now I get to tolerate this and look at this for the rest of the day. Cool. Thanks, Melina. Like, let's not do that.
I think that is so important. I want to stop for just a half a second. I don't want to take us too far down a rabbit trail, but I think it's important for everybody. And this is like I am holding a mirror next to our conversation, right? Because y'all know. Um, but I think it's important to say that 15 minutes or five, like 15 minutes is enough to do a drawer,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to do your underwear,
Mm-hmm.
to clean out under your bathroom cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
to do one area, one little thing that you don't have to go, okay, my whole bedroom and bathroom have to be straightened out by 6 o'clock today. And I know it's 4 and I need to make dinner. Right
Oh
now,
my
you're
gosh.
like,
Don't do that.
right? Like, that's just not realistic. So I think it's important that y'all understand, like, what she just said, like, one thing, small or big, but 15 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Or if you have the luxury that you have a couple hours, great, then tackle a bigger project.
Mm-hmm.
But don't think you're going to repaint your bathroom in an hour because it's not going to
No,
happen.
no, don't do
Especially if
that.
you have to go to the paint store too.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's
I
not do
might
that.
be that person.
I was like, I
Oh,
think
I
this
can
is
do
personal
this.
experience.
I'm good. Got plenty of
I'm gonna
time.
pick a color and repaint a bathroom within like an hour. Totally doable. Yep. Uh-huh.
Understand why not? It works on HDTV.
I know. In those 30 minutes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no,
So
no. But
anyway,
yeah,
go on. Sorry, I don't want to take us too far down,
no,
but
no,
I think
no.
it's important. Time, have fun, have
Yes,
some music, set the mood,
yes.
go.
Set the mood. And Chris, you're so right. Like the power of 15 minutes, like there is so much power in that. And I'll tie that back to the dopamine hit that we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Is so here's the thing, like when people, you get that add to cart on Amazon, on Target, your favorite, whatever, what your favorite jean store, whatever it is, you start to get a dopamine hit just from like adding to
Click.
cart and buying, right? Or you go to Hobby Lobby or Target and you're like perusing and you're seeing like what I want to put in my cart, you get a dopamine hit. Or when you go into your pantry and you get some chocolate chips like I do, and you get a dopamine hit, right? Like you get them all the time, anywhere.
From cucumbers.
Cucumbers. I mean, when you give
Kidding.
them a taste, I was like, they
Let's
could,
go.
they could be. But like again, women are a little bit lower on those feel good hormones.
Yes, we are.
And so what I want to just kind of tell you, like the big secret is you can get the dopamine hit from decluttering too. Not a lot of people know that, but it's the
The
same
secret.
thing. It's the secret. It's this, you literally can feel the same dopamine hit when you declutter. So, I mean, the first 5 minutes may not feel like that because you're like having to make some decisions, and we can talk about like how to make those decisions easier. But as you continue to work through your space, a small drawer, your underwear drawer, your children's like junk drawer of toys that they have kept from all the birthday parties,
Your
um,
shoes.
your shoe. Yeah, I know you and your shoes. Your shoes. Yes. Just taking even just one like thing, like your shoes, and just going through and doing that. I mean, you're going to feel so good afterwards and be like, wow, I just tackled all of my shoes. And it probably only took you 15 to 20 minutes.
Half an hour. It took
Yeah.
me a half an hour between getting the garbage bag
Hmm. Hmm.
and getting sidetracked for a couple minutes because I didn't really want to do it.
Yeah. Yes.
And then like, okay, no, I can't take the shoes anymore because I can't find things.
Yeah.
And so I did. I think I ended up with 10 pairs less.
That's amazing.
I know.
That's a
And
big
there's probably
deal.
three more that need to go in there, but I just couldn't quite let them go.
Yes. And that's
Because
fair.
y'all, they were red.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So pretty.
The red shoe.
Anyway, so yeah, but it did. It only took me about 30 minutes or less,
Mhm.
and my shoes are taken care of. And I also did one of my bins that had like some old activewear
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
that was out of style activewear, like different length
Mm-hmm.
bottoms that I don't care to wear anymore. Um, so yeah, I got that one bin done too. So
That's amazing.
I
See,
know. So,
look.
but y'all, it felt good, and it still feels good right now
Totally. Totally.
too.
You get to. Well, the great thing about that as well, like you're giving yourself evidence of like, I can do this and I can keep doing this. So it just kind of keeps layering itself, like as you continue to work through different parts of your home. And like it's either, I would say either pick like a really easy one. And that's why I say like you start with a junk drawer, then that's like an easy win, right? Because most of the stuff
Totally.
in there is just trash anyway.
Help us understand that, right? Like you don't need to keep every rubber band off of every flower bouquet that you ever bought.
Please don't. I mean, yeah. So I mean that's part of it. If you want, I can walk you through like what it would look like to like go through that junk drawer. And that way it's like, here's like this, because that's, I feel like that's like one of the biggest things. It's like people are like, I don't even know. Okay, so let's say I picked the junk drawer. Now what? Like, do I just literally like go through and like find the trash, but then I still have, the rubber bands, or I have 40 pens, or like the paper clips, or some like change. People they have change
Right.
if that
Absolutely.
exists.
People have changed.
Yes.
Still do. I mean, there's a penny sitting on my desk right now.
See, yeah, yeah,
Why?
yeah. Or like
Why?
random like cards from people that like drop by your door. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so you start with your junk drawer. The first thing you do is you're like, okay, I'm gonna look for all the trash. Get all the trash out, literally trash, like wrappers, things that you're like, I don't even know who this person is, like this card, like just trash it, right? And then you're gonna go through and just do your donate. Let's be clear, there probably isn't a lot to donate in a junk drawer. Okay.
True. But this is
So
good. This is a good rule for everything. Like when my daughter can't quite figure out how to clean her room, I'm like, trash first.
yes, yes,
Trash first. Just get all the junk and the trash and the food or whatever else is in her
yes.
room. Get that out first. And
Yes,
then you can see things more clearly.
correct, correct.
Yeah.
Then it just
So
makes it easy.
it does. And then
Yes.
donate.
And then donate. So yeah, you do your trash, then you get your donate, and then you have your keep pile. So you have your keep pile. So, and also please just clean the junk drawer out. Like just clean the
Take a
inside.
cloth,
Yes, just clean it real quick. Yeah. Because it's probably been a minute.
maybe the vacuum,
The vacuum. Yep.
whatever it takes.
So then you've got your keep pile. So then I want you to sort it. So I want you to sort all the like items. So if it's the rubber bands, the paper clips, the change, the cards you're going to keep, the
Or if it's your
pens.
room, then it's your underwear and your
Mhm.
socks and your pants and your shorts and your tops. Separate
Yeah.
all that out if it's a mess.
Yes. Yeah. So sort all the like items together. And then they're going to do another like declutter there because you're going to see how much of those items that you actually have left. And you're like, okay, do I need 10 pairs of red shoes? Or is there like some favorites in here? Because I'm just picking on you. Or or like, are there like, 8 favorites here and I can let go of 2, you know? Or same thing with like, if you go through your underwear, like, and we're all like this, like, are there some pairs that have some holes? Like, okay, those really can go. Or like,
Those are the easy ones.
those are the easy ones, those go.
The
Um,
elastic that's doesn't work anymore.
doesn't work. And you're like, please, get yourself a nice pair of underwear, right? Like go spend some money
Ladies.
on yourself. Get some nice pairs of underwear. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Yes.
Um,
Even if you're
but
buying fancy Target, like, or
yeah,
Walmart, like it's not about the money. It's about
no, yes,
niceness. Yes.
correct. You deserve it. So after you kind of sorted through your like items and you've done another look through of like how much of this do I actually need? I probably don't need 50 pens. How about I just keep 20 pens and put a few like in back stock?
Or
Um,
maybe you have like a favorite kind of pen. Like
yep.
I throw away all click ballpoints because I don't like them.
Oh, hmm,
I don't like them. I want a roller ball or a felt, something that's super smooth, but that's just me.
yeah.
And my kids don't care. So if I get a free pen, I either throw it in a donate pile or I just throw them away.
See, but you already have that system. You've already got that like system in your
Yeah,
brain
that
of like,
system sets up.
this
Yep,
is this
easy.
is what I like. I don't like this kind of pen. I know that about myself. It goes straight to donate or it gets in the trash.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful thing. It's a
yeah,
beautiful
easy.
thing.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. So after you've done all your sorting and you've looked through your piles again and you've like, okay, so I've really had conversations with myself and been like, how much of these things do I really need?
Yeah.
And then that's when you go back and you actually organize. So that's the part that most people get kind of backwards is they kind of just stop with just the trash piece. They don't even really think about like, what do I really want to keep or not keep? And really ask themselves the questions like, what really in here do I want to manage? Because whatever you keep, it's going to, like just we said before, it's going to take your time and energy to manage and keep up with. So be very ruthless with the decisions that you make. Um, and you probably can buy it again. Like most likely, here's the caveat. You make space for things that also gives you space to bring some things that you love even more in, right? So instead of keeping those 8 pairs or 10 pairs of red shoes and you're like, these are iffy. But then you go and find this other pair that you're like, wow, those are amazing. And I have space in my closet for them. Easy. Like that's like great. You feel
So I
really
don't
good.
need 3 pairs of red boots. Kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It depends what's important to you
I
and what space
know.
you have to manage.
I know. No,
It
I
is.
think that's so important. I know we're joking a little bit about my shoes, but I think that that's super important because we do have to manage it, right? It's like people who, they and I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, but the more stuff you have, the more things we have to manage, right? If you have a boat, if you have a lake house, if you have other properties, if you have 4 TVs and one breaks, like the more things that we have, the more things that we have to manage. And that, like I said, that's not all bad if those are the things that you want around you and that you value. But if you don't use 50 paper clips a year, then you don't need to keep 50 paper clips.
Correct. Yes,
Yeah.
100%. And what you said
Unless
they
you
were
love
like,
paper clips and then you need to find a place for them.
yes. And then you find the place. And that's the
But
part of
so then
like,
you buy your organizer things when? Like
so
now, right? Like I have all these little things, if I don't have a little drawer insert that has
right.
little thing places for everything.
Yes. So after you've gone through and you've done that second phase of decluttering with your sorted like items, that is when I tell people now you can buy organizers or repurpose what you have in your home, right?
Right.
So everything in your home is a container. Your house is a container. So you organize for the space that you have, not for the stuff that you own. You
Ooh, say that
organize,
again.
you organize for the space that you have, not for the stuff that you own. So your drawer, your junk drawer, your underwear drawer, your shoe rack, that is a container in itself. So when that starts to overflow, that is your like, oh, okay, it is time. I've obviously, and everybody needs resets. I need resets. I mean, there's a list of closets I'm going to tackle this summer. So just because I'm an organizer does not mean my home is perfect. It's just one of those things of like, it is an acknowledgement that I'm now aware that my space overflowed. My container has overflowed, right?
Okay. I like that. Because
Mhm.
that gives you, that's your clue, right?
It is. That's your
When
clue.
I buy new running shoes about every 4 months,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
And I keep my old ones either to do the lawn or just walk,
mhm.
that's not pounding. But
Yeah.
when I have 6 or 8 pair, like they don't fit where keep them in my
Yes.
garage anymore. So I need to
Mm.
repurpose, donate, whatever.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And everyone has a different, what I call clutter threshold, right? So everyone is different. It may take a minute, like a month or two for those 8 shoes to really start talking to you, you
Mhm.
know, um,
Tolerate.
tolerate. That's right. That's right. They go above the tolerating. They're like really like getting very loud and talking to you, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's different. But yes, so that's what I would say is like be aware of your clutter threshold. And then that is your clue of like, okay, so this container that I made for myself of the organizing, everything in here, put all of your sort items together. And that way you also can tell like that's how much of something I have. I always tell people to shop your stuff first. So like, all of your toiletries, you like to shop at Costco, all those kind of things, that's totally fine. But at least if they are in this set container, this set place, you're able to know how much of something that you have. What do you need? What do you don't need? Right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm. That's so wise. When my when I moved my mom out of her apartment, um, it and into my home, this was almost 6 years ago, 5 years ago. Um, in her kitchen, she had 3 or 4 rolls of aluminum foil and plastic wrap, blah, blah, all those things
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
I finally just opened. I had 2 or 3. She had 3 or 4. I finally just opened the last aluminum foil thing.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was 5 years ago. I have not bought aluminum foil in 5 years,
That's crazy.
right? Because I shopped my own
Yeah.
stuff. I love
Hmm.
that. That's a great
Hmm.
idea.
Yeah. Shop your own stuff. Yeah. Because I mean, the American culture that we live in, it's consumerism, right? So you're just being told to buy more things, which is totally fine. But again, it's like shop your things first so that you're not overspending because you know that you're not sure. Like I always before I make any grocery list, I go shop my stuff first. What do I have
Mhm.
in the pantry? What do I have in the garage? So I don't repurchase something that I already have, right? Because again, you just have to manage that stuff. You have to find a place for it somewhere. You know,
Right.
if you've got 50 rolls of toilet paper, well, that's got to go somewhere, you know.
It does.
It'll get
You
used.
Oh shoot, I just bought toilet paper, right? And now you have 2 of those giant
Yes,
things from
yes,
Costco or
yes, yes.
whatever.
It'll get used, but it's going to take a minute. So
It's
yeah,
gonna take some time and they take up so much
they
space.
take up a lot of space. They take up a lot of space. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that. That's fantastic. Okay, so y'all, just to recap, we talked about the fact that you can actually get these dopamine hits from decluttering. And the way that that happens is to set yourself up for success, set aside some good time. Um, make sure that you have some fun music or something going on besides just the fact that you're sitting in your room cleaning out your shoes or your junk drawer in your kitchen or your pantry or whatever,
Mhm.
maybe it's your garage. That's on my top of my list actually next. Um, I love the quote that says, organize for your space, not for your belongings. So if you have 50 pairs of shoes, but you really only have space for 30, you really need to come to grips with that or repurpose some other space in your house for your shoes
Yes, yes, yeah,
or your junk or your paper clips or whatever it is that you have
right.
so that it's not my my cousin's or husband at the time used to say, yes, your shoes are vomiting out of the closet. So that's kind of gross, but they would just show up kind of outside of the closet. They would
Yes.
just make their way out.
That's a clue. That's a little
It's a
clue.
little clue when things are everywhere. So, and then I love the order, right? Figure out the trash first because that helps to just declutter your brain.
Hmm.
And this could go for a room or a junk drawer, right? Trash first, donate versus keep, and
Hmm.
then go back through the keep pile and say, what do I really want? Do I need it? Maybe if you're going through clothing, does it fit?
Yes, yes,
Does it fit? Right. And maybe it doesn't fit now, but maybe it hasn't fitted now for 10 years. And
yes,
maybe, just maybe, it's out of style. Or so what do you really need to keep? Does it bring you joy?
yeah,
If it doesn't fit and you can alter it in some way,
right,
then go do that if you love it, right?
right,
Yes.
yeah,
Um, and then find the container, which
yeah,
you may have a container around your house
yeah.
or Amazon,
Mhm.
and it also may give you permission to go to Target or Walmart.
That's right. That's right. It will. And just have a list of the things that you're going to go buy, right? This
And dimensions, right? Like if you're
dimension. Yeah.
trying to don't guess. You won't you need to
No,
really understand the dimensions of the inside of your drawers and
correct.
how tall I have had to return things so often because I
Yeah.
just guessed.
Yes. Well, and here's a little tip. So for your drawers, an easy thing to do, because some people do this with their walls, like when they do like a gallery for their wall. So get some parchment paper or like brown paper, something like that, and slide it into your drawer and really cut it to the dimension, roll it up and take it with you to Target or Walmart. And then you can set your
That's
containers on it.
brilliant.
It saves so much time, right? Because then you're not over there with your like, because I've done this, like you're measuring tape and you're like, this is what it is, this is all that I have, and you're like visually trying to picture what it looks like in
Like
a drawer.
it's
Yes,
like trying to put a puzzle together in your brain.
yes, it's Tetris. You're just trying to basically do Tetris for the
Yeah,
drawer.
you're
Yes.
exactly.
So yeah, so that's a really good tip is like if you're able to find some kind of piece of paper that you can like just cut it out for the dimension,
Use
take it
your
with you.
Target bag or your Trader Joe's bags. Like
Yeah.
they'll open up big or
Yeah,
Whole Foods or whatever.
100%.
Yep.
Yes, there's something around, I promise, there's
Newspaper, I
something
promise.
around to do. There's something around your home you can do those. And that way you can just take it with you. You already know you can plan out your space, all the organizers, and then you don't overbuy either. And so then those purchases don't sit on the table and like talk to you about taking you back and all the
Yeah,
things.
you don't overbuy and you get in and you get out in budget and you just go to the organizing section. You don't necessarily have to do the whole store.
Correct, correct. And I
Although I know the black hole of that Target is and Costco.
It
So
is. Yes,
I'm
you
aware.
absolutely can. Yes, just beware. And you don't have to like, I just also want to give you permission, like your organizing space like does not have to look Pinterest, Instagram worthy. Like as long as it functions for you, just let it do that. If you love that look and you have the time, energy, and money to put forth into that look, go for it.
Yeah,
If you do not,
nobody's getting a picture of my shoes.
no, like it
Nope.
really doesn't matter. It's supposed to serve you and it's supposed to be functional. As long as it does those two things, like you're good. You've won.
And one thing that you said before was in our previous time together, you said that this will give you capacity for self-reflection
Mm,
because you're not constantly, first of all, you're not walking by something tolerating it and all those ugh feelings that you have. Like now you go and you can reflect and have actual space to breathe
mhm, mhm.
because you're not walking around going, oh, I hate the way that looks. Oh, I'm not gonna. It's not your sanctuary when it feels like that.
Yes, 100%. I mean, it just it goes back to where it's giving you mental space. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
it's giving you mental space and physical space. And that's why, like, when I discovered minimalism like 7 years ago, that's what it did for me, is it freed up that mental and physical capacity, emotional capacity too, to be
Right.
like, okay, I can I can take a deep breath again. Like having the perfect house is not what's important to me. What's important to me is that it functions. I can find the things. I don't know if anybody else is the finder of all the things in your house. It's me. It's me. And so I can find the things, and then I can also give that gift to my husband and my children to find it in the labeled container where it is. That's where
Right.
its home is. So it just takes you, it gives you your time and energy back.
And y'all probably without the,
Yes,
I don't know where it is.
yes,
How am
yes.
I supposed to know?
But you do know, like I know
I
where,
know.
like you have
I
the
know. It's
sixth
weird
sense.
how we know, right?
You
Yeah.
totally know. We totally
Yeah.
know because we're usually ones putting it somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
100%. 100%. So I want to talk about scarcity for just a minute
Mhm.
because I think that we hold on to things based onto that, not only physical stuff but emotional stuff based on scarcity. And then I want to hit real quick before we finish up here. I want to talk a little bit about meal planning,
Mhm.
and how you figured out how to like declutter some of the meal planning things and expectations around meal planning. So let's talk a little bit about scarcity first because I think this is an important point that we don't always connect to.
Yeah. So with scarcity, one of the things, when I talk with people, it's usually a few things. It's when they're, being asked to declutter or organize their home, this kind of fear comes up, and it's scarcity in a lot of different ways. It's scarcity with money, it's scarcity with like in that sense of like the sentimental items that come up, right? So those are some things that kind of come up for people like first is those kind of scarcity, or like the what if. Like what if I need this again later, right? So it's the scarcity of like the money that you've already spent. I've already spent so much money on this. It's the what if I need this again? And then it's like the sentimental loss of items. So all of those kind of have that theme of scarcity in them. And, to be very honest, it's like that's some deeper conversations with yourself and some reflection
Absolutely.
with yourself, right? I never rush people through those because there's a lot of emotion tied to our things,
Right.
and a lot of, not to get too like, there's just a lot of like family of origin things that come up.
Absolutely. This is the same for food, y'all. This is the
Yes.
same conversation that we have around certain foods that we have that we get attached to in some way. But it's the same mindset. Go ahead.
Yes, 100%. Well, it's the same thing. Like if you smell like the smell of like fresh baked cookies, that could be a memory tied to your childhood of like, security and just being at home and just this kind of freedom of childhood potentially, if that was your memory child to like chocolate chip cookies out of the oven,
Mhm.
right? It's the same thing of like when you like have like a photo album that comes up and you like have memories, or like a book, like a childhood book, or your blankie or something like that. It brings up the same kind of feelings and emotions, and those are valid and they should be acknowledged, and yeah, acknowledged and valued. So that's kind of like, just think of that when you're kind of going through your stuff. Like, I want you to just be aware of that. Like, it's okay. And there's different places in your home that are going to bring up kind of that scarcity or that kind of fear of letting go, right? Typically, your bathroom is not going to have a whole lot of like
Probably
emotions
not.
that come up. Your closet might. Your closet might. Some people's food pantry might, right?
100%. That I'm familiar with.
Yes. So it's like different areas can bring up different kinds of emotions. And to be aware of that, of just knowing like before you step into this space, of really kind of taking a minute to acknowledge, like, okay, do I need extra support here? Do I need somebody with me, shoulder to shoulder, walking me through this as I'm moving through these emotions? Because it's weird. Like, you wouldn't think getting rid of like 200 pens would be a hard thing, but it's all I don't know, like all items are tied to something, right?
They are. Absolutely. They absolutely are. And for those of us who've taken care of our parents, like getting rid of that stuff, right? Like that's
Yes.
something that's looming for me in the not too distant future that I need to come to grips with, is getting rid of some of my mom's stuff. Some of it doesn't mean anything to me, but like all of her kitchen stuff, like what you just said, like
Mhm.
I can't imagine throwing away any, like her mixer. Do you know how many cookies we made together with that mixer? Right. Like just little things like that are going to be really hard for me.
Yeah. Well, and if I can just give you some permission, it's like if something like that means something to you, then you have permission to keep it.
Yeah.
But I encourage you to use it, right?
Right.
Don't keep it and then let it just go over there in the dust. Like, keep it and use it to also just kind of honor that memory.
Honor.
Yes. Yes. To honor that memory that you have with her. Even if it's just twice a year, you're still honoring that memory. And it honestly, like, you'll get the same sweet emotions every time you use it,
Mhm.
right? The mixer, the platter, these glasses, whatever it is like, just use those things then, because it's an acknowledgement of that sweet relationship that you had with them.
Absolutely. And all y'all that are keeping your china, use the china. Use your china. I love using my china. Love it.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
It is so fun. So the last thing I kind of want to talk about, well, you one more thing before you have, and y'all pay attention to this. This is something important. You have the 4 archetypes for organizing,
Mm,
and y'all, she has like a cool quiz that you can take,
mhm,
and it will give you your personality, if you will, around organizing and how what's going to work best for you, and so that you have probably a little more clarity going into the project too.
yeah.
There's certain types that need to do it one way versus another, and I think that y'all just need to, I will put it in the show notes. You need to go take the little quiz and then get with Melina. She'll do like a free consult with you around
Yes.
decluttering. And before we finish though, I want to talk a little bit about food prep and pre-planning, because this is also part of decluttering, right?
Mm,
When we can have a little bit more space in our day, that we're not walking by things that we tolerate and going, ugh, that takes away from energy that we might be able to use to put to plant, to do like meal plans for the week, or to make shopping lists so that we don't just wing it at the grocery store.
yeah.
So you can
100%.
take it from there. I think it's so important, to talk about having food made ahead. You all know that I'm a big batch cooker. I'm a big protein batch cooker because everything else is so easy to put together. But if you're got a frozen pizza and frozen uncooked chicken, you're picking the pizza
Yes. Yes. Because it's
every
easy.
time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
So talk a little bit about how you figured out and figured out how to make meals easier for you and your family, and the value system that you put around that, because it was beautiful when we talked about that.
Yeah. So I think it just goes back to like, what is important to you, right? Like, that's just the question. It's the theme that you should have for your life, is like, what's important to you. So for me and my family, I figured out that what is most important to me is for us to have dinner around the table. That is where I start. So it wasn't that I love to cook so much that I want to make sure I have this whole experience in the kitchen, you know, and then I present it to my family and, I'm waiting for the oohs and the ahs. That is not what is valuable to me. I don't get tons of joy from cooking. I've gotten better at cooking because I've had to. I love baking. Baking is my jam. Like I love to bake. I love to bake with my kids. But cooking is just like, I feel like that's more of like the necessity piece. It's a vehicle to get me to spending that connection time, right?
Right.
So that's what's important to me. So then I'd ask you, like, what is important to you when it comes to food into your week, right? The other part that's important to me is time. Time is very important to me as a mom of two with a business and a husband and people that I want to see and spend time with. So what I think about when I'm thinking about like, how do I plan my week is I have a short list of meals that are like my go-to meals. It's like, again, my children, they are still in that picky stage of eating, right? So it's almost like we make 2 meals-ish for every meal that we make for dinner. That is something that I have given up. It is not something I hold on to. I don't lose sleep over it. I plan around it, kind of knowing that's what we're going to do. So I have my short list of meals. Like, okay, so every Sunday, I think about what does my week look like? What are the heavy days? Excuse me, like what are like the more stressful days? What do we have like practice after school so that I know like, okay, this might be a good leftover night, or this is going to be a night where I need to make this a very easy dinner. Like it could be the frozen pizza with a side salad and some fruit. Like, right? You plan for
Right.
it, right?
Right.
You make plans for it. That's the biggest thing. And so I go through like every day, like what does my day look like? Here's like the things that I want to make for breakfast and for lunch. Cool. I have that list. I make my shopping list. I pick up my groceries. We just do minimal prep in our house on Sundays.
Hmm.
Uh, because most of our meals are just like ready in under 20 minutes. Like
Love
again,
that.
time is so
Same.
precious
Same.
and I don't want to spend like hours in the
Same.
kitchen.
Same. I love to cook, but I will do 4 pack or 2 packages of chicken breast, right? That's
Yes.
4 full chicken breasts, but that makes 8 pieces. You
Yeah.
cut them in half, I marinate them, put them on the grill. They are done in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You can add any vegetable, you can add anything that your kids like in another 10 minutes, right? It doesn't
Yep.
take
Yep.
long to throw together a mac and cheese or a baked potato or a salad that goes along with that, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, frozen veggies. It doesn't take any time at all to do that,
Yep.
as long as your protein is done. At least that's how it works in my house. And I haven't spent a ton of time doing any of that, but I get to eat healthy for the whole week.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And that's what it's like, again, for the kids portion, I think starting with that protein is great. Like, okay, this is your protein. And then like, what are the sides that go around that?
Right.
So for us, it's like they always get the protein. They may not like the baked potato or the
Right.
asparagus, but it's like, here's some fruit, here's some carrots, like here's some things I know that they will eat. And so that way it's like, it's almost like a piecemeal meal put together.
Just whatever
But
you have in your house that they
yes,
that they like. If you have
100%.
some fruit or some carrots or some chips
Yeah,
or whatever it happens to be,
right,
like you said,
right,
it's not as important to you that you get all the food groups
right.
on their plate every single night, but over the course of a week
Yes, yes.
they get more than enough of all the food
Right.
groups.
100%, 100%. And it just kind of goes back to like what's important to you. Like again, like think of that, let that anchor you. It's like what's important to you? How can I plan my week? And especially if like you're a mom, like just do yourself a favor, your future self a favor, and just do a little bit of planning. It takes less than 30 minutes to plan this stuff out for the week.
Absolutely.
It really does. And get
It
your
doesn't take
husband on
any time.
board. your children on board. The one thing that one of my friends does, I think is super fun, is that they do like a chef night, like once a month with one of their kids. So they have 2 kids, and so they could rotate it every week, or you could do it once a month. But I think that's super fun. Like, again, if you love to cook and you want to invite your children into the kitchen to do that with you, to just, even if they just do like some meal prep,
100%.
right?
Yep.
And it helps give them some buy-in of like, I made this, I'm gonna at least try this.
Yep. And you're giving them future skills.
100%.
I mean, both of my kids, my son probably cooks more and maybe better. I don't know, because Callan doesn't cook as much, but Cooper cooks all the time for himself. And he is a Sunday meal planner. You can go into his fridge on any given day, and he's got his little things all stacked up with his rice and his protein and all the things that he's made for the week, all good to go, all ready to go.
See, I went into college not knowing how to cook really. And so, what did you get? You get the microwave mac and cheese.
Yeah.
You had some ramen. I mean, you're also poor college kids, but like, you just didn't have the skill set
No.
of how to
Right.
make things, right? My husband talks about he would make, I think you get like some frozen chicken and put it on the George Foreman grill and make that like no seasoning. And like that with like some like pasta or something. And I'm like, that sounds disgusting.
So bad.
But you don't know, right?
No, you just don't know. You don't know. You don't know.
Yeah. So
But if you start to involve your kids, is what you were saying, right? If we involve our kids young, or even as teenagers, like let them, if they're teenagers and they haven't started cooking, help them to plan a meal that they can make, even if it's just scrambled eggs and toast and bacon or sausage or something like that for dinner one night a week. If they're making dinner one night a week, then they're starting to learn how to have some of those kitchen skills that they really do need when they go to college, so that they're not eating pizza and Taco Bell all the time.
Right. 100%. Or burning down, the kitchen. Yes.
Right. Yeah, that's bad.
Let's do that. Let's prepare a little bit better.
Oh my goodness. Melina, this has just been so lovely. And I've so enjoyed our conversation. Is there anything else that you want to leave everybody with?
I mean, I think we've covered a lot.
We have.
Take this advice in its but no, I think it's just really just go back to like thinking about like what's important to you, like the values that you hold in your home. Let that be your compass and your anchor as you move through your day, your week, your month, and let that give you permission, right, to lean into those things. I think that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here today. I have totally enjoyed our conversation, and we'll probably have you back, because this is just like, we could just keep going. I know that, but we could get more granular on lots of things. So anyway, I've loved having you. Y'all find her on Instagram. It's Melina Kane Coaching, probably everywhere, and all of her information will be in the show notes. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you.